All right, testing. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We're live, folks. What is up, everyone? It is your boy, Shazman21, and welcome to another episode of Weeb Talk, episode 25. Now, as you can see, my banner has kind of had a bit of a change up, and that is because my USB whatever was corrupted for some reason, and that also would include my banter, so I had to pretty much redo it again. The way that it was kind of before, but it's you know, slightly different, but it's still kind of relatively the same. Like you'll probably still see like the same old anime characters. You can still see in the bottom, Rias Grimmery and Hinata. You know what I'm saying? My waifu's looking amazing. You know what I'm saying? Although I do have a girlfriend, so we'll see about that. But besides that, yeah, I think that's all I gotta say about that. But yeah, in tonight's episode, I actually got to thinking about talking about Spider-Man, especially since last what was it? Sorry, not last. Yesterday, it was National Spider-Man Day, and I kind of thought to myself, I think it's gonna be interesting to do some like Spider-Man content here, especially for this week. So for this week only, I'm probably gonna be exclusively talking about like Spider-Man, and I think it's gonna be fun just to, look back on a lot of things and stuff. So sorry, I had something to eat. But yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get started on the topics here. So, of course, already got the Happy National Spider-Man Day. So, any Spider-Man fans that are watching this, Happy National Spider-Man Day to you guys. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite Spider-Man or Spidey thing is. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of which, we're gonna talk about, of course, the importance of Spider-Man in media, my thoughts on Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse since I finally watched the movie, and just get my thoughts on it, my predictions of what they're gonna do beyond the Spiderverse whenever that's gonna be coming out. My favorite Spider-Man video game, plus of course what's gonna be happening in Spider-Man 2. Show off, I guess some like Spider-Man artwork, I think, for Instagram. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that. Real quick, hold up a second. All right, I'm back. Yeah, just to give my thoughts on, Spider-Man 2, and also show some artwork that I've been doing, including like another really good one that I really want to show, but right now I'm just gonna keep it going. My thoughts on the current run of Spider-Man comic books, especially what they're currently doing, and I got a lot to say about that, but we'll get into it eventually. My favorite Spider-Man villain. Oh, that's a lot to say because there's plenty of Spider-Man villains that we have pretty much been blessed to see in the Spider-Man mythos, and the common ones are of course Green Goblin, Venom, and all types of shit, or even like Doc Ock and stuff. So yeah, we'll see when we get there. The best girl in the Spider-Man romance, or just best girl in Spider-Man mythos, or whatnot, in my opinion. And talk about the Spider-Man manga that I think just came out this year or next year or last year. Um, I haven't checked back on that, but I might probably look that up for a bit about the Spider-Man manga. And then for the outro, we're just gonna just say what makes Spider-Man the most interesting hero of all time, and why Spider-Man is my most favorite hero of all time. All right, so starting off, let's go ahead and start with the National Spider-Man Day. Um, Gotta say, like I said again, happy National Spider-Man Day to everyone else that is a huge fan of Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? From artworks to, video games to fan arts to anything else that's Spider-Man related. It is very well appreciated that there's plenty of fans out there that is like a huge fan of, Spider-Man, including, making their original original characters, or OCs if you want to call it, or the kids want to call it these days. um, and yeah, just being a huge fan of Spider-Man mythos, and just Peter Parker in general from like his stories and stuff, and it's a great thing that people are such huge fans of them, and yeah, man, I can't talk right now. Anyways, let's just keep it going. Yeah, happy National Spider-Man Day to everyone else. I hope you guys had a great time yesterday. Whatever you want to like suit up or whatnot and do your thing, because I actually pretty much did. Put on some like Spider-Man leggings and nice little shirt and I don't have the mask yet, but like if I do, it's gonna be looking amazing if you know what I'm saying. And there was even that one time I also, cosplay as Spider-Man like a few times back in my day and stuff. And also I was, oh yeah, I was also like wearing like the Spider-Man muscle too when I was like 3 years old, I think. Yeah, I was, and I was like wearing it like every single day, kind of basically just being Spider-Man and whatnot. And nowadays, I just kind of just wear the legging and sometimes the shirt for a bit, but it honestly depends. But otherwise, yeah. Happy National Spider-Man Day to everyone, and yeah, let's get into another topic. Um, the importance of Spider-Man in media. Yes, there's a lot of importance of the character himself and what he pretty much represents for everyone. He's basically the everyday man thing. So basically, he's a kid, or supposedly, because nowadays he's actually more of an adult that has some problems. But again, the editorials over there is trying to keep him young for some fucking reason, despite the fact that it doesn't make sense. But I digress. We'll get into that later. But just as far as like briefly with the mythos or whatnot, it really pretty much like starts off with like him as like high school student, having to essentially deal with a lot of like high school shit that pretty much all of us had to like go through, like dramas, relationships, friendships, and fights over girlfriends, boyfriends, or if you swing in different ways, same sex and all that other good stuff. It's a it's a hell it's a hell of a thing to deal with in high school, man. Like there was a lot that was like going on, especially even with like Peter Parker, where he had to like essentially be bullied because he was a nerd and he didn't fight back, or he didn't like have any like skills whatsoever. Oh, skills as in like physically, like he wasn't physically gifted pretty much, and he would just get like punked by Flash Thompson all the time. And it wasn't until like at one point Peter Parker wanted to get to wrestling or whatnot and do his thing, and you know he did it for selfish reasons, like, oh yeah, I need to get this money. I guess maybe for a little bit to like help out with the family, but really just to get out and just do his own thing. And then I forgot who the character was that ended up like killing Uncle Ben, but he the that burglar, again, I don't remember his name, but um, in other iterations, it's turned out to be like Sandman. Although that's in the movies, the original like comic book whatnot is completely different. It's a completely different person that did that, and I think that guy ended up dead somehow, or I don't know. At least like in the original comics from like a long, long time ago, from what I've remembered a little bit. I didn't read it, but like just like from other like YouTubers I've like talked about that, I was just like, makes sense. Like I think Comic Explain had like talked about that, or was it someone else? No, I think it was Comic Explain, or maybe I'll have to double check. But otherwise, yeah, that happens. Uncle Ben dies, and then the whole "with great power comes great responsibility" line that's been like said over and over again. Although it is actually important to understand. But yes, with great power comes great responsibility, and then Peter Parker takes the responsibility of being Spider-Man and having to deal with a lot of like crap. But yeah, that's pretty much the importance. It's basically just like what he pretty much deals with is just like everyday life, and then even like when he becomes Spider-Man, he has to deal with a lot of like stuff with like bad guys, from like the common burglars to even like big ones like Rhino and Shocker. Green Goblin, Venom, all them, you know, just like having to just constantly deal with that while also like trying to live his life as Peter Parker. However, with him living as Peter Parker, it kind of like, you know, has a bit of like a negative effect on his life where it's like it just sucks ass, especially in high school where he just like, you know, misses so much class because he has to like, again, you know, as Spider-Man has to like deal with all this and that. It's very stressful, man. And I think it's like related to real life where it's like a lot of us, you know, at least, you know, back in high school or whatnot, you know, had to like, you know, get jobs or whatnot, but at the same time had to like, you know, go to school and, you know, deal with friends and deal with family, deal with all this other stuff. You know, it's a little stressful, man. It really is. Especially, you know, back when I was in high school where we had to like apparently, you know, wake up at 6 o'clock, get get on the bus, then like go to school at 7 o'clock or whatnot in the freaking morning, and then like it just gets weird because you know I guess nowadays school is now starting a little later, which from what I've heard it's sort of working. I don't know. I mean, I wish it was working in my days because godly, imagine like the amount of productivity we would have had a little bit, but you know, y'all kids are lucky nowadays. You know, because back in our days, we had to wake up every single time at 6 o'clock in the morning, while y'all had to wake up at 8 or 7. I wish I had that too, you little suckers. But anyways, like, country blessings, guys. I ain't hating too much on that. You know, a little bit. It was back to the importance of Spider-Man, but yeah. Anyways, I think it's just important that like you know we understand you know Spider-Man not only as like a character but what he represents. You know, he again is the everyday man, and I think like Stanley once said too. Again, rest in peace to the legend himself. But yeah, he said that anyone can wear the mask. Hell, even like you know your dog can wear the mask. Yes, your dog can actually wear the mask somehow, but otherwise, it's just what it means to be Spider-Man. Is just you know responsibility, humility, um, family. I think is pretty important and stuff. And hold on a second, guys. But anyways, with like humility, responsibility, I would also say wisdom, family, um, yeah, especially with family too, because like it is like very important that like you know you have like a tight family, especially you know since like you know Spider-Man does have like a good like relationship with his aunt, you know his aunt May, and it's like you know she helps out a little bit, you know with like you know having to traverse through life, you know, without an uncle or whatnot, which was, you know, again, his father figure. And, you know, having to navigate that. And then at times, you know, Ame being a compelling character and, you know, in her own rights, you know, especially the way that she has to, like, deal with, like, the grief of losing her husband and just a lot of, like, great stuff. And, yeah, I think it's just, like, important, like, you know, that, again, we understand, you know, that Spider Man, again, like I said, is an everyday man, just like how we are. You know, he's not that much, you know, Coco special than a lot of us. Yes, he does have extraordinary powers, you know, as far as you know, shooting webs and you know, having like you know, enhance strength, enhance ability to you know do some like really like crazy shit, even doing some like really cool stunts. But at the core of it all, he is still a man having to pretty much deal with a lot of like you know stuff in life. You know what I'm saying? Like he has to, like pretty much have to like come to terms with that. You know, with responsibilities on a daily basis, especially as he gets older and stuff. So it's just important to like keep that in mind. And yeah, I think just the core aspects is just again humility, responsibility, family. Um, would I say loyalty would count? I mean, loyalty does count, but I'm trying to think of something. I mean, confidence a little bit, but something that's really, really important. That's like you know, really deep into his soul. You know, of course, responsibility, but there's also something else that's just like, you know, that touches like Spider-Man on a deep level. Um, I would say, actually, give me a second, guys. Okay, I actually now found the words I was actually looking for. So it's actually duty, the duty to call to, like, help out whenever possible, serve the community and stuff. Um, Obligation to essentially, he's obligated to, again, like, save anyone else, and just the burden of being Spider-Man. Like, that's where I was looking for. Burden, like, just a huge. It takes like a huge burden on him, because it's just like, again, with his personal life, having to, like, take a, like, hit every single time, you know, because of the fact that, him being Spider-Man can also be, you know, a detriment to his personal life at times. And it's like, important to, like, keep that in mind, to, like, don't overwork yourself, but also don't over, I guess, have too much fun with yourself. Because, again, you gotta have a bit of a balance, but that's always gonna be a tricky thing, to always, like, incorporate balance, because no matter what, stuff can happen, and sometimes you will unfortunately have to, like, lean into extremes at times. At times, I'm not saying, like, it's gonna be all the time, but every now and then, realistically, sometimes you'll end up in, like, different extremes and stuff. So yeah, I think that's pretty much, like, the importance of Spider-Man and the media, as best as I can, like, you know, personify it with my words. But yeah, I think that's all I gotta say about that. Now, next topic, we're gonna go ahead and discuss my thoughts on Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Yes, sir, guys. I have finally watched Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and it is a great movie, guys. It really, really, really is. Now, if you guys haven't seen my video where I kind of just, like, gave my thoughts on, like, Spider-Man, or at least, like, my review on it, make sure you guys will go check it out, and give it a like, and do your thing, whatever. Just, smash that like button. You know what I'm saying? Smash the like button. Hit. As a matter of fact, not even smash it. How about you thwip the like button and then hit a pow on the subscribe button? You know what I'm saying? To get more good litty videos like the Weeb Top podcast and some nice little other videos, you know what I'm saying? Skits, maybe, or even some reactions, or, streams that I be doing all the time on RuneScape, if you know what I'm saying. So you better make sure you whip that like button, pull it in, and then you pow to this. Or, sorry, you pow the subscribe button. Also ring the damn bell. Alright, goddamn. So you get updates on some good shit. anyways, back up topic. Yeah, anyways, my thoughts on Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. From beginning to end. Alright, so it does sort of pick up where Into Spider-Verse left off, which, again, it left off with Gwen coming back to see Miles Morales. You know what I'm saying? Leaving it ambiguous, and it kind of did pick up on that, albeit for a for a little bit. It dives into a little bit more with, Gwen as a character. It pretty much starts off with, her in a band, having to, release a lot of, like, stress by banging drums or whatnot, and everyone is, like, noticing that, she's not feeling well, so they're trying to, like, help out. But then, of course, she's going through that episode where she's, like, going through a lot. So it's like, she starts to become a lot distant with her friends or whatnot, and I don't lie, it was a touching moment. But besides all that, the visuals in, the Spider Gwen was absolutely amazing. Like, the palette in this, like, the scenery that they were having was just absolutely gorgeous and amazing. Like, the way that they were using, like, the colors in, the Spider Gwen verse, like, her universe is just so beautifully well done. Like, just the art style of it is just like, I think it's like painting come to life, but also somehow, like, added in 3D elements somehow. And all I gotta say is, like, wow, the animators in Across the Spider-Verse really nailed, the whole animation and art and colors just to the T, guys. It was really, really, really great how they were able to, do something like that. Give me a second, guys. But yeah, anyways, back to what I was saying about Spider Gwen. But Yeah, like the art style, man, it was really really good. And then we get to like the scenes where it's like they pretty much like cover her backstory a little bit more, where it's like you know it has a bit of emotional impact because Peter Parker, at least in her universe, Spider Gwen's universe, was getting bullied as per usual, this in this mythos or whatnot. But this time around, he turns into the lizard, and I believe Spider Gwen was able to stop him, but inadvertently killing his. Or sorry, God damn it, killing her own friend, and it was a touching scene to like see that um, Peter knew that Peter knew that Gwen was Spider Gwen the whole time. Gwen Stacy was basically Spider Gwen the whole time, and then dies in her arms, and it's such a like nice little visual too of like how they like use the orange in that particular setting to like signify like something bad is happening, and then like her father, who is also a cop, I forgot, I think his name was Captain Stacy. Yeah, Captain Stacy. Um, saw that and blames everything on Spider Gwen and all that good stuff. Then it gets to the you know what? Do I have to like go a little further? You know what? I'll just keep going. Um, then it cuts to like Vulture, but this time it's a different type of Vulture from a whole Renaissance period. Somehow entering a completely different universe. This time it's in Gwen's universe or whatnot. So she has to like try to take care of the problem by seeing how to like defeat the guy. Then she gets help by Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man, the Spider-Man from 2099, or just Spider-Man 2099, and Jessica Drew Spider-Man. But this time it's a black woman, which is she is like a really cool like character and stuff. Albeit she wasn't, unfortunately she wasn't like utilized as much. Although she does play like a very very important role. It's just that I just feel like there was not much going on with her, but otherwise, you know, her aesthetics is also just pretty cool, and she has some like really fun moments too. Like talk about like naming her baby at some point because I think she is pregnant and she's trying to figure out what to say or what baby or whatever the name of the baby she wants like call it, but you know that's a completely different story. But besides all that, they all team up to help out. Or hold on a second. All right, my bad, guys. Just had to cut off real quick for other reasons, but otherwise, let's go ahead and get back to the movie itself. So, I think we was back with like all the three spider people helping out to stop the vulture or whatnot. There's like the cool scene with Miguel showing his fangs and stuff, which was cool to see. And then they defeat the vulture. Afterwards, Spider Gwen, I think she talks to Captain Stacy, which again that's her dad, and she ends up revealing herself to be, you know, the spider person. And at first, you would think like maybe since like Captain Stacy would like be a little bit sympathetic that like oh this is his daughter, so he might have to think okay this is weird, how do I handle this? But instead he ends up pretty much trying to attempt to arrest her. And oh, but my sorry guys, I want to say this again. This is my not my major spoilers for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So if you guys have not seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, don't watch this video. Make sure you watch the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse first before you watch this video. And that's all I gotta say for spoilers. I forgot to say that, but anyways, hopefully I'll probably just gonna list it on the timestamp below of like warning spoilers. So yeah, just for anyone, just to like keep in mind. But at this point, I think everyone is sort of caught up, so I don't have to worry too much on that. But anyways, yeah, back to Captain Stacy. he attempts to arrest Spider Gwen, and then he ends up like getting like you know stopped by Miguel O'Hara by putting him in like in a cage or whatever like prison cage that he was in for a bit, and then like Spider Gwen had to like leave him because I mean your own dad tried to arrest you, and although like it is kind of weird that I don't know it's a little bit complicated because like I can understand on either side, but it's just sad to see, and it was like very well done with like the colors because like I believe like the blue or I think it was the blue, yeah, the blue is like a little bit more menacing than it was, so it's like just as menacing as like this color here, but like a lot more darker, and just the way that they were using that, like again like the art style they were using was so beautifully well done because they like show like emotions through like orange, and then like I guess with green it's like a little bit like uncertainty, blue is like ominous. It was like insane, and then like red or pink or whatnot is like more of a like expressive color or expressive expressiveness, like basically if you're angry, sad or whatnot, it's like red colors everywhere. But yeah, I just like how they like play with the whole colors with that, like oh man, I cannot like stress enough how much they have like done so well with the colors. But yeah, besides all that, Spider Gwen ends up joining the Spider Society, albeit reluctantly, because Miguel and Jessica didn't want to do that first, or not even Jessica. Miguel didn't want to do it at first because he was like, "We're just here to like solve this problem. We should not like let her like come with us." But because of what just happened with that situation, they take her in reluctantly, and she's part of the Spider Society, and yada yada yada. Then we cut to Miles Morales. Ah man, Miles Morales, man, he's really growing on me. Like he really is, and he's just becoming such a compelling character, especially when we get to like the Spider part, the Spider Society part. Oh my god, he's just like such a goat, man. Like he really has grown on me, and I'm starting to think like at some point, like if let's say Peter Parker does retire, I believe that Miles Morales for quite a bit of time, like maybe like 10 years ish, like say around I don't know 2027 to 2037. I think he's gonna like dominate so well. So like I'm predicting that might happen. So yeah, that'd be kind of cool to see. But otherwise, all I'm gonna say is, yeah, Miles Morales, man, he's just grown on me, man. But otherwise, fanboying aside, it cuts to like Miles Morales, 10 months after the events that happened in Spider-Man to Spiderverse, he has like pretty much grown into the Spider-Man role, and he's just like getting so much better with it, becoming a little bit more confident in it, being like, such like, a compelling Spider-Man, being able to do his thing. And that's just like something that's like, always like really great about, Miles, is that he's doing his own thing and, create his own legacy, which is awesome to see. And, yeah, it was just awesome to see him do his like thing, uh, he also ends up like meeting this like very very important villain later in the story called the Spot. Now at first, he kind of just treats Spot like a joke or whatnot, like whatever. I'll just like you know defeat you or whatnot. And while in the midst of that, Miles is trying to like get back to his like school to like I guess like do a parent teacher conference about like grades or whatever. I don't know. It's interesting how that's played out, but I won't spend too much on that other than like I would say like the dynamic in the family thing is a little bit different, and again this is like something like parents who have like teenagers, they'll probably like chime in this comment would say like, yeah, this is something that I had to like pretty much deal with my teenage kids when they're going through a lot, which that's the thing with like Miles, because like he goes through a lot. It's especially as a 15-year-old, because I think is he 15, 16? I don't know. He's like probably around that age, but otherwise, Oh yeah, back to I'm sorry, I'm jumping around all the time. Anyways, let's just get back to the fight with Miles Morales' Spot, whereas like at first Miles doesn't take Spot so seriously because hey, it's just the villain of the week or whatnot. And let's just say Spot did not take that very well, and he took that very personally, and tries like insist that hey, we are nemesis. I created you, you created me, and it makes sense that we are equal in a, well, not equal, but like we are bound to be nemesis, and I will destroy you or whatever. While like Miles was like, whatever, I'll just kick your ass, and he ends up kind of kicking his ass a bit, and then like Spot still does his thing, especially when like that funny scene when like Miles Morales like comes back and does not does his thing, but he comes back to school, to parent teacher conference with his family or whatnot, and then like his fire sense goes off with like the Spot doing something stupid, and then like he has to like go back and yada yada yada, stuff happens, and then like you know Miles Morales fights the Spot again. They're able to like essentially defeat him by having Spot hilariously kick himself right in the booty, and all that good stuff. Oh, and at the same time, Officer Davis, I believe that's the name, Officer Jefferson Davis, is also going to be playing quite a big role too, especially later on when he gets mentioned again. But he's there. Then they have their moments, and then there's like so many good moments. I really want to dive into that, but I want to just keep it like a little bit short and simple. So as much as I would want to dive into the aspects of like the family dynamic between Rio, Davis, and Miles, and how that's like playing such an integral role, I would say I'm probably just gonna have to skip to the part where it's like you know um, Miles Morales and Rio have that like moment together where she says like, "Don't ever lose that boy in you," and that don't let people tell you that you do not belong here, which ends up being very very important. So like the whole like you do not belong here, and that like of course Rio being like genuinely scared for her kid, that like there will not be anyone that's like gonna get his back or whatnot, and that they're gonna like treat him like absolute garbage or whatnot, which again plays very well later in the story. And so this would be like unfortunately the last time he has ever like seen both his um mom and his father, at least for the time period. And he ends up you know trying to find where Gwen is at, and then it gets to the part where like you know Spider Gwen was really here to like find the Spot or whatnot, and then tries to leave to say like goodbye Miles, I won't be able to see you again, but then Miles still falls while still being invisible, and let's just say things get a little like trippy, and I mean it gets really trippy afterwards. So they end up getting into this like universe where I believe Spider-Man, India Spider-Man resides in, where it's a cross between Manhattan and somewhere in India. I forgot which city. Um, but yeah, Indian Spider-Man, he was cool. He definitely like stole the show. My favorite part was the whole chai tea. Oh my god, it was hilarious. Yeah, I like that. He was cool, and you know, Miles jumps in to like stop the Spot with the of course like the Spider folks and stuff, including like Spider Gwen, Indian Spider Man, and just all that good stuff. Then as soon as like they meet each other again, Miles Morales and whatnot, they try to like stop the Spot for doing something like dangerous, like going to what was it, Alchemex? Yeah, to essentially take away a lot of powers, or just not take away a lot of powers, but try like suck in a lot of like power to get more powerful. Because what he's pretty much doing is he's going to like different universes to essentially become very powerful to like pretty much try to destroy the whole multiverse type shit. You know what I'm saying? So like he ends up going to like worlds like Spider-Man 1960 gets hilariously hit by a woman, and that then ends up in like the Sonyverse of the Venom series. Which, funny enough, they will be doing like another Venom movie, I think, or did they already do that? I don't know. I think they did. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with that, but the Sonyverse with Venom, of course, with Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy's Venom and stuff, and of course it's a cart lady again. The cartel, not the cartel lady, the retail store lady, and I don't know, that I find it hilarious. Where the spot was like, "Are you sure that you're not afraid of me?" and all this other stuff, and the way that the lady was looking at her, like, sorry, looking at the spot, like, I've seen way worse shit. This is nothing new. Just the way that she looked at him, like, yes, I have seen worse shit. This is nothing new. I guess Bob was like, all right, I'll let you be. And then like that just like gave him like this idea, like, maybe if I like get a lot of alchemics, I can like use his power to get at the same spire that has like caused me to be the way that I am, and then like get rid of him. And yeah, it gets to tense, you guys. Like, it really does. And after like Spot, well, actually, before that, Spiderpunk actually ends up like coming out and does the thing. And of course, let's just say Spiderpunk is also becoming my favorite Spider-Man of all time. And he's such a cool dude. Like Hobby Brown, oh my god, he's absolutely just like stole the whole movie. Like, he was just awesome. Of course, like, he was barely like seen at times, but like his impact in the story is like so like it's so important. And I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do with Spider-Punk and Beyond the Spider-Verse. Like, I am so excited for that. But sorry, my nose is kind of bugging me. But yeah, besides that, they try to save Spot or whatever to, tell him like, hey, don't do this. It's going to be a bad idea. Spot doesn't care. And then like afterwards, after the explosion happens, then like in a brief period moment, Miles and Spot ends up, sharing like, I wouldn't say like a mind, but they share like a future of what will happen. And it looks like, like it like cuts between like, Indian Spider-Man's like, what was it? Officer, but also um Officer Davis, like it cuts like back and forth with that, like how they're gonna like pretty much die or whatnot. And it was just like a trip to see. And I think like that was like triggering like a quote unquote canon event or whatever it's called, like later with the Spider-Verse, where we'll talk a little bit more on that. um yeah, that happens, and then things start to like break through, and then like some incursion or whatever starts happening, where like the place starts to get glitchy or whatnot, and then all the spider people have to like essentially like save everyone. And then this is where it gets like really interesting. Spider-Man, or Miles Morales Spider-Man, ends up like breaking a canon event, or quote unquote, because like the Spider Gwen and the other girl to Jessica Drew got this like pin that there's a canon event happening. Do not disrupt it. Someone is going to die or whatnot. Of course, like Spider Gwen had to like try to like stop Miles for trying to do something, but Miles doesn't know, like hey, he pretty much quote unquote disrupted the canon event by like saving the officer that is one of like Indian Spider-Man's girlfriend's dad or whatnot, that was again quote unquote supposed to be killed. Although that is caused again by the Spot, and not because there was a quote unquote canon event. But it gets tricky with that, especially when we get to Spider Society part, where, oh man, there's a lot to say about that. And all I gotta say is like, wow, did they the animators really outdid themselves with this one. Like, they really did. They really had like all the Spider-Mans that were like all there. It was like hard to like pinpoint a lot of them. It was like so like hard to focus. Of course, like there was like ones that I recognize, like for example, Ben Riley was there. He's had a cameo in there, like doing his thing or whatnot, and in a silly way, of course. But otherwise, Ben Riley was there. It was cool to see him. I didn't see Scarlet Spider, so that sucks. The Kane version, like that version, he was cool. But there was the Insomniac Spider-Man, which I was excited to see. Um, what else? What else? What else? Um, I don't know. There's just like so many Spider-Mans. I was just like, golly, what is going on? And then there was like pixel versions of them, and those were what count as anomalies or whatever. And then something happens where it's like Hobby Brown does this like secret div thing where it's like taking off like a lot of stuff while like chatting with like Miles Morales. Said, I'm like, hey man, I think you might not end up liking what you're gonna be liking, and you might have to essentially fight for your life or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but essentially he's warning him that something is about to happen and it's not gonna be good. And then something happens. Miguel O'Hara makes his dramatic appearance. It was, I found it so hilarious when when we get to Miguel O'Hara, like he was just like sitting down all like broody, like Batman type shit. It was hilarious, man. But it's just like interesting to see like this version of Miguel O'Hara. But I gonna lie, man, that boy is huge. I'm talking like very, very big, like godly. But anyways, I'm getting carried away. How are we doing time? Okay, we're doing okay. I guess we could still keep going. I'll try to like end a little bit quickly, but then we get to the canon events, stuff like that. All the Spider-Mans have to essentially have to get bitten. Then they have to like deal with some tragedies. Say like someone that they love and care about is gonna have to die, whether that's an uncle, an aunt, a friend, or whoever. That's always gonna happen. And then like also this like important canon event where it's like the officers, the chief officers, regardless of any point in time, has to die. That's just the point. Which also then includes, this is where it gets to the key point. Miles Morales' dad is going to like be I don't know, not rewarded. Not rewarded. What is the word? Dang. All right, guys. I forgot the word already, but it's called promoted. Promoted. Yes. Okay. So, shut up. Anyways, he was getting promoted to captain. Now, this is big because, like, the thing is, in a canon event, that means that Officer Davis is supposed to die. Which, again, here's the thing. Here's I'm gonna keep it a bug with you guys. In the Insomniac series, especially in the Spider-Man series, unfortunately, Officer Davis actually dies, which sucks, but he does. But that's just the exception. However, the thing is that's also supposed to happen to the animated version of Miles Morales that we love to, what I'm saying, from the Into and Across the Spiderverse series, where when like Miles Morales realizes like, oh no, his dad is gonna like be promoted to captain, and that this canon event that's gonna happen where he's gonna die in a horrific way is bound to happen. And of course, Miles Morales does not want any of that, and so then he gets surrounded by the spider people, I'm saying. And when he realized like even his friends was on it too, the whole anyways, yeah, the spider people, realize. Oh, no, sorry. He gets surrounded by the spider people, and then he ends up having to, or they end up trying to capture him. But then like here's the cool part: Hobby Brown, like without any words, like puts his hands up to like let him know like, hey, this is what you gotta do to like break through the ceiling, or sorry, break through like electric forces, because previously before he Miles tried to like do that, but he only did with his fingers, but didn't like budge. So then Spider-Punk does his thing, and then like he reminds him to like use his whole entire hand next time, and then when he like reminds him to do it again, he ends up doing all that, and then like it gets to the part where it's just like he gets pretty much chased by the whole entire Spider people, and And then it just like gets crazier and crazier and crazier, and just like they were trying to like capture him, say like, no, you gotta stop because you can't, disrupt the caravan or whatever. And so like Miguel, oh god, Miguel was on, Miles Morales' ass. Like he was trying to like get at him, trying to like destroy him or whatever. He was just being an ass. But the reason why is because like it's revealed that, well, it was already revealed in the whole canon event, but like, he ended up losing his universe because apparently, stop. Apparently, what happened was, he was in a different universe that, had like Miguel O'Hara die, but he takes after that version of Miguel to essentially live a family life, and then something bad happens to that particular universe where everyone essentially gets glitched out of existence, and then like Miguel O'Hara misrepresents or misinterprets that as like he was not supposed to be there because canonly that's what's supposed to happen was like his version was supposed to die and he wasn't supposed to do whatever, despite the fact that it's an incursion, which it pretty much was. And I think it was like stated in the Multiverse of Madness, where it's like if you stay in like a universe that is not like familiar to you, you are going to cause essentially quote unquote an insurgent, or I don't know, that word is always like hard to say sometimes. Incursion, yeah. Like if you stay a little bit too long, you're going to cause an incursion, and I think that's what kind of happened. Although there's like conflicting theories, like there is such thing as like a caravan and also sometimes an incursion. I don't know. I lean towards more of the fact that Miguel caused an incursion accidentally, of course, but he mistakenly said it was like caravan, so he was not supposed to be there. You get the drift. So what ends up happening here is that he tries to, stop Miles Morales, but he ends up adding this word. He says that our Miles Morales that we've been following is the original anomaly. Basically, he was not supposed to be Spider-Man the whole entire time. Because if we look back, like, into Spiderverse, the spider that was kind of glitchy and whatnot, turns out that that wasn't the spider that, was originally from that universe, and that it was in Earth 42, where Miles resides in Earth 16110 or whatever, or Earth 1610 or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it just like it gets good, guys. Like the story gets good, but he tells like Miles Morales that he's like the original anomaly. He's not supposed to be here. He doesn't deserve that, and yada yada yada. And then like Miles Morales ends up hitting with the coldest line ever, saying, "Everyone keeps telling me what I should and shouldn't be. Nah, I'm gonna do my own thing." And oh man, after he said that, he kicks Miguel off of him and then gives him like a good kick to the face, sending him like tumbling. And it was like cool to see. Then like of course he says he has to unfortunately say goodbye to Spider-Gwen and his mentor Peter B. Parker, because they were kind of in on the whole like allowing the cat event to happen and whatnot, or yada yada yada. So he tells them goodbye, and just straight up like goes to a completely different universe, or attempts to, when he saw like Rhino get sent to a different verse or whatever. So Miles ends up using a machine to essentially go back to 6010. However, the machine scans the the spider that bit him that originally resides in Earth 42 instead of Earth 1610. And then what ends up happening is Miles gets sent. Well, not, we don't know, but like we think like, he's gonna be sent to his like own universe or whatnot. But then things start to get like a little bit tricky, especially like it like plays off with like oh yeah, the Spider Gwen one. I'm gonna say the Spider Gwen version, but I just want to talk about how it all ends. So like I'll save the Spider Gwen situation later and like talk about the ending of how it goes. So I would say it goes like this. So Miles Morales goes home essentially, and things are completely different, like completely different. And then like the way that they shot the scene was like you would think like maybe all the Spider people are coming after Miles Morales in like that universe. However, it ends up like being revealed that something's off. Like Miles Morales is not in the room that we think he is. So then like when Spider-Gwen senses his energies from somewhere, um it gets like really weird to the point where it's like when like Miles sees Uncle Aaron, who he thought was dead, ends up like alive or whatnot. Miles starts to finally realizes, after like pretty much revealing himself that he was Spider-Man to you know his mom, but then like the mom was like whatever, I don't care, or okay, that's cool. But when he sees Uncle Aaron alive and well, he puts two to two together and he's like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong universe. And that's when it was just like insane to when like when Aaron starts to tell him like, oh, are you gonna rob this place or whatever, I don't know, I'm paraphrasing. Then he gets hit by a, a vigilante who then is revealed later on in the ending when like Miles, our Miles, the Spider-Man Miles, gets like chained up, kind of similar to like how Peter B. Parker was chained up initially. And then like when Miles tries to like talk Uncle Aaron out, like get him out, he doesn't do all that. He then like punches the bag to like show that he's not playing around, kind of saying like, oh, I'm not the Prowler. Then the Prowler ends up being revealed to again be Miles Morales. Guys, it's so insane how it ends. And then like it ends like such a cliffhanger, because it's like it ends with like Miles Morales having to essentially confront himself in Earth 42. And apparently again, this version of Spider-Man, Earth 42 again was originally supposed to be the Spider-Man, but for reasons, like the Spot having to essentially take that universe's like Spider to 1610 to experiment a bit and pretty much cause the chain issues that's going on with into and across the Spiderverse. And it ends with like essentially Miles Morales and two Miles Morales like essentially facing each other, which we'll get into here in a minute with my predictions. How are we doing with time? We're doing sort of okay. I'm just making sure that because like sometimes like thing gets cut off at an hour for some reason, despite the fact that I don't know. I'm just making sure that it doesn't do that, but we'll see. I might probably like make like a part two, or actually not part two. I could just like combine videos. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I will have to say that happens, and yeah, it ends with two Miles Moraleses, pretty much confronting each other. Well, it's more like the Prowler Miles wants to know about Officer Davis, because his dad, who is also Officer Davis, died, and since he has pretty much found himself, but like in a completely different universe, it's gonna play out with that. And our Miles Morales, tries to tell him like, hey, please let me out, let me save my father or whatnot, or our father. And then like Prowler Miles is like, why should I do that? Now, of course, like it leads into like a lot of speculations of whether or not he's evil or not, which I don't think so, which we'll get into here in a minute. And then it also ends with Spider-Gwen and the gang itself, like the original gang from Into the Spider-Verse, and the new Spider people, like Spider-Punk and Indian Spider-Man, and also the technology Spider-Girl, which was cool to see. Then of course you got like Peter B. Parker, Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham, and Penny Parker also joining in, and it just ends with them, pretty much having to essentially save Miles Morales wherever he's at, or where, yeah. just like trying to find him essentially, and it just is such beautifully. But anyways, that's my thoughts on Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It's a really good movie, and of course, major spoilers, of course, and yeah, it's pretty much all I gotta say about that. But yeah, the animations was great. Ah, man, the animations are great, and you know, I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with the next movie. Because again, it's just left with like such a cliffhanger that you're just like, man, I want to see what happens. So then, that's where we're gonna get into the part where here's my prediction going into Spider-Man. For Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. So I'm gonna keep it a bit brief, but I will definitely say that we're gonna kind of start off a little bit with the gang. Spider Gwen and the Spider people that we know of from the Into and Across the Spider Verse. They're gonna be doing a thing. They're probably just gonna go to like a universe. Trying to like sense where Miles Morales is at. They'll stumble a few times until they end up reaching Earth 42, and then that's where they'll like sense where Miles Morales is at, and they try to save him or whatnot, or however that's gonna go. And then it's gonna also pick up with like the fight between Prowler Miles and of course our Miles, Spider-Man Miles. Just like keep it like brief. We'll just say Spider-Man Miles and Prowler Miles, or just like whatever. You know what I'm saying. Just so that we don't confuse the two, because they're both Miles Morales, but they're completely different people. Because there's a Prowler version and there's the Spider-Man version that we all know and love. And they'll end up like fighting a bit, and then afterwards they kind of stop to have a talk about how they can like essentially save Officer Davis. Whereas like the Prowler Miles would want anything to see his dad again, so he'll probably like join Miles to like essentially help stop this threat that's gonna happen, which is the Spot. And I think Ongara might like play into the factor too, and then it's gonna start with like Miguel O'Hara still played the antagonist for a bit until like he ends up joining in to stop the Spot, which I think the Spot will like end up like playing a big role and try to like destroy everything. And then we're gonna have like cameo appearances. Who knows? We might even have the live action versions of the Spider-Mans that we know of also join in as well to help out as well, which would be cool to see. But otherwise, I think that's gonna be my thoughts a little bit briefly. Um, as far as like story beats goes, I think it's just gonna be about just again like going beyond the Spider-Verse. There's gonna be like a lot of like silly things that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna end with like some major characters that are possibly going to die. I'm not too sure, and I'm also like sensing that there might be some type of like I don't know, but I won't say betrayal, but just like some like that happening as well. Can't say for certain if that's gonna work, but we'll see what happens. But otherwise, there's gonna be a lot of like drama that's gonna happen, a lot of like fighting between like the Spider people, and then like with the Spot, finally makes its appearance. It's gonna like be like devastated to see like a few like Spidey people that we know of get killed off here and there. Who knows? Even like some major players, well, at least like a few might die. So we'll see how that goes. And oh man, I'm just excited to see what they're gonna do beyond the Spider-Verse. I think since it's been like delayed for quite a bit of time, we'll see how it might come back. I'm starting to think it might come back in 2026 or 2027. I don't know. I think it's gonna take a bit of time, and honestly, why not? Because like I believe like animators and writers and whatnot definitely do need to take a break, especially from Across the Spider-Verse, because from what I've heard, it took them quite a long time to like do the animations and all this other stuff. So I think they definitely deserve a break. But otherwise, I think for now, we're just gonna like speculate on what can happen in the story. Otherwise, I would say like Spot is still gonna be playing a big role, like a very very big major role. Ends up like killing a few characters possibly, and there will be a big team up between Spider-Man Miles and also Prowler Miles, where they'll pretty much team up to try to stop the Spot, essentially, or I don't know. We'll see what happens, because otherwise the Prowler version isn't really truly evil. It, he may be donning the Prowler or whatnot, but I think he's doing it in a way to be a vigilante, because again, that version of Miles Morales again was supposed to be the Spider-Man, but his spider never bit him because that spider ended up getting transported to a different world again by the Spot. But otherwise, yeah, that happened. But anyways, I think that's all I gotta say about Spider-Man to Beyond the Spider-Verse, my predictions on it, and how we're doing time. We're doing okay. I think we can kind of continue to go. Now, if it gets cut off, I'll just make another, like, we talking, just, whatever. We'll just see what we can do. Anyways, let's go to my favorite Spider-Man video game, plus, of course, Spider-Man 2. All right. Now, I grew up playing, the Sam Raimi games, like, from the first and the second. I didn't quite play the third one, because from what I've heard, it was not really that great, so I didn't do that. But, yeah. My personal favorite was definitely Spider-Man 2, which was a lot of fun to play. And Spider-Man 1 was okay. Like, I don't know. Something about that game was a bit iffy at times. But, I played that. Then I also played Spider-Man Webs of Shadows, which is a very, very underrated game. But, like, that had, like, the black symbiotic suit or whatnot, or symbiote, whatever you want to call it. Of course, that's, like, my favorite iteration is when, like, Spider-Man, turns into, like, the black symbiote and it just, like, does his thing. And what else? Spider-Man Friend the Foe was good. Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 was also pretty fucking great. At times. At times. I kind of prefer the first one, though, but that's just nostalgia in me talking. But, yeah. I did play The Amazing Spider-Man, the game, and it was okay. It was okay. I like the suits in there, but it was whatever. The thing is, I'm not really too much of a big fan of the TASM series. It's good. It's just not really my cup of tea. Andrew Garfield's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Him being Spider-Man, him being Peter Parker was awesome, and the relationship between him and Gwen Stacy in the movie was fucking great. It's just that I just didn't really care that much about the TASM series. I just didn't. I don't know. But I did play the game. It was okay. And then, of course, more recently, Spider-Man PS4, the Insomniac, series is, like, my personal favorite because of, like, a lot of stuff that happens. And, Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales is also a really good one. And just, okay. But which one's, like, my personal favorite? Okay, so I'm going to put it in, like, top 5. So, starting off with number 5, I would say Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 would be my top 5. Then top 4 would be Spider-Man Friend of Foes. Top 3 would be Spider-Man Webs of Shadow. Then, of course, number 2 would be... Oh, this was a bit of a toss-up, but I'm just going to say... Spider-Man Miles Morales. And the reason why I put that in number 2 is that, like, even though I absolutely enjoy the game, and I absolutely like Miles Morales in the game as well, the story, at times, it kind of was a miss. Because especially when they killed off, Finn or whatnot. Especially, like... when they hinted that, these two are technically lovers, and I was just, like, thinking to myself, like, man, that's kind of a letdown that they killed off the main love interest. Like, it would have been interesting to see their dynamic, grow into a bit of a love. Let's say, like, even, like, let's say, like, Finn messes up and whatnot, and, whatever. I wish that the bad guy could have been somebody completely different. I don't know. I just felt like Finn definitely wasn't the best villain whatsoever. I think if they would have, like, done... Well, Kruger was actually the real villain the whole time, but honestly, I wish that, you know, who could have been the villain the whole time? That Finn's brother. I think he would have fit very, very well as a villain. Like just him like manipulating, you know, Finn to do like some like really heinous, you know, crimes or whatnot. And it would be like him that actually sacrifices his life instead of Finn. Oh, that would have made like the story 10 times better. Hell, 1,000 times better. And then like you would still have, you know, Finn and Miles together. You know what I'm saying? Although I did kind of ship Miles with the girl that is Death. So like it's cool, but I don't know. I just feel like the storyline wasn't all that great. But all that to say, you know, Spider-Man Miles Morales was still pretty good. So I'll still put that in top 2 because, you know, that I spent quite a lot of hours on that game. But I will have to say Spider-Man PS4 or PS5 or whatever, the remaster or whatever. That is my personal favorite because just a lot goes down, like the side missions, the main missions, everything in it. It's like it's so replayable all the time. Like in my opinion, just I could just like play that game all the time and never ever get bored of the story or the gameplay or anything else. Hell, since I got the remastered edition, I could also play the DLCs that I wasn't able to do on the PS4. Like that is fucking awesome. So like, yeah. Besides like the base model kind of being a little weird, I would say, you know, hey, I still enjoy the game. But otherwise, yeah, those are my top favorites. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue off. Show off some Spider-Man artwork. Yeah, all right. So let's go ahead and quickly show off my artwork real quick. So I think we could do this. Nah, I think we could go right here. All right, so here is my artwork that I did. So this one's, of course, you know, OG Spider-Man. You guys could definitely check it out. You give it a like on my Instagram post, of course, you know, XX21. Here's my OC, Spider X. He's really cool, I would say, you know, with X and all that good stuff, with the green webs and stuff, you know, looking really, really menacing, but also really cool. And, you know, hey, it looks pretty cool. Then I call this King Spider because, you know, he's pretty much essentially the king, and to me he's kind of like a gag character. So basically his, you know, powers are essentially, you know, cartoonish. You know, like Spider Pig, for example. You know, he's basically a gag character, so kind of like that. And that's just kind of what I see. And I would say he's kind of a little bit of a narcissist, but like he still cares for his like kingdom and whatnot, and for the people and not. He just does it in his own way, and then this nice little artwork here. But otherwise, yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you guys also like it too. And again, make sure to go to my, you know, Instagram to follow me. Oh, and let me also show you guys something too. I got Hobby Brown, yes sir. Of course, my mom comment on that. Cute. But otherwise, yeah. This is Hobby Brown that I decided to draw. And hey, let me know in the comments down below what you think about this artwork too of Hobby. I think I did okay with it. I was using some like reference to like what he looked like in, you know, a Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse, and at least like sort of like try to like keep that. There might be some things I might you know, do a bit of touch on, but otherwise I think it looks okay. Yeah, I say so far I give it like, to me personally, like an 8 or 7 out of 10. But let me know if you guys disagree or be like, no, it's actually a 9 out of 10. Or if you want to be an asshole, you could just say 3 out of 10 and I'll be like, fuck you. But anyways, besides that, yeah, that's my artwork of, you know, Hobby Brown and whatnot. And let's get back to here. Yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you guys like it. You know, give it your ratings on this. And oh, and also show me your artwork too. Heck, send me in DMs real quick, and or shoot me in the DMs and show me you guys' artwork too. I want to see that too. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. Back to the Weeb Talk podcast. All right, my thoughts on the current run of the Spider-Man comic books. Now, I said it before in a Weeb Talk episode that I absolutely despise what they are currently doing with Spider-Man comic books. Like, it's just it's such an utter disgrace to the legend of Spider-Man itself, especially the mythos, where essentially they have like completely ruined Peter Parker indefinitely. And just like there was like so many characters that was just like acting way out of line. Mary Jane, for whatever reason, just doing the absolute most. Then there was this Paul guy and the kids and supernatural things going down, and the story just did not make sense. And then apparently Norman Osborn is a good guy, and it's just getting confusing. And then like the most infuriating of them all, from what I remembered, was that they killed off Miss Marvel. Now I haven't checked much with Miss Marvel, but even still, like, I felt like her death did not make any sense as far as the current story that was going, because she barely had any type of relationship with all of the characters, and yet she dies. It's so stupid. I'm like, what the hell is even this? And then like, I don't know, like, I guess like, do I really want to say this dude's name? Do I really want to say his name? I don't even know if I really want to say his name. Whatever. ZW or whatever. Just the way that the writer or the editorial are just like so insisting that they want to like keep Spider-Man, again, one, relatively young, and also still just like not doing much with his character. And what's a fun fact, the reason why they created Mephisto is because they did not want Spider-Man to grow old, because apparently he won't be relatable anymore. Even though there's Peter B. Parker that people really like, and that like Peter B. Parker represents what Spider-Man 616 or whatever should have been. It was so dumb. Like, just it's so infuriating. And yeah, like I said, my thoughts still is that the current run of Spider-Man comic books is still ass. Although I will still say the only thing that they did okay with in so far, I would say the relationship between Spider-Man and Black Cat. I will say it's good. They did an okay job with that. That I would say they did an okay job with. Because at least then, if they're really gonna just get rid of like this relationship with Mary Jane and Peter Parker, Spider-Man, at this point, fuck it. Since they pretty much like have essentially ruined a relationship that has been built up since the 1990s. At this point, it's just like throw it out the window. So you know what? It is what it is. I would say, hey, Spider-Man and Black Cat do work together quite well, I guess. But otherwise, anything about this comic book series, I'm just like, I fucking hate. And I would rather instead play either the video games of the Spider-Man series or whatever. I would rather probably watch the TV shows, aka Spectacular Spider-Man, the best show, or I don't know, watch the live action movies from like the Sam Raimi's to even the TASM series and even the Marvel Cinematic Universe MCU Spider-Man. Even he actually grows as a character throughout the freaking movies. Sometimes, but like at least in No Way Home, he actually grows, which is awesome to see. Although bittersweet because stuff happened, but otherwise he grows. He actually grows, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with him. Whatever, but like otherwise, it's just so infuriating with like what they did with the Anyways, I digress. All I gotta say is the comic run is whatever. Like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like get back to it anytime soon. And even if let's say they do bring back, the relationship between Peter Parker and Mary Jane, I'll be like, okay, we'll see what happens. It's going to be only a matter of time until the Mario 2 is going to be like, oh, no, we can't have that, and we can't have this, and then go back to status control. You know what? Probably status control, but the status quo over and over again, and not have anything original coming up because these idiots don't have anything original coming up. And all I gotta say is, you know what? You could keep that shit, because I'm not getting any of your comic book fucking shit ever. But whatever. It is what it is. They want to do all that, go right on motherfucking head. Cause I am not checking that shit out. I'm definitely not. I rather enjoy my show. I rather enjoy my movies, and I rather enjoy the video games. But anyways, and especially across the Spiderverse and into Spiderverse, which let's just keep it about since they're so obsessed with like having a young Spider-Man. I mean, there's Miles Morales, so why not just utilize him? But whatever. That's all I gotta say about the comic book series. I probably will make an even bigger round video another time, which will be called Dear Marvel or whatever. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. How we doing time? Doing okay. Let's just keep it going. Favorite Spider-Man villain. All right, so my favorite Spider-Man villain. Ooh, a lot actually. I would say, I guess for my top three, because there's like a lot of like Spider-Man villains I do like. Craven, Sandman is pretty cool. Electro is cool, and Spot is the Spot. Especially across the Spider-Verse. Is slowly becoming my favorite. But I'll have to say it honestly just comes out of three. Oh, and also honorable mention Carnage, and Blizzard. But it comes down to all three. All right. So, third favorite villain, I would say Doc Ock. Yeah, Doc Ock, especially from Spider-Man 2. Like that version of Doc Ock, I absolutely love. He was really, really great in the movie, especially when he ends up like redeeming himself to like save Peter Parker or whatnot, which was cool to see. Number two, I would say, oh, this one's tough because I actually like both of them, but as villains, but Venom, yeah, Venom. Oh, golly, just Venom, especially as an anti-hero at times is really cool, but when he's a villain, oh man, just there's so many like classic moments with him versus Spider-Man, him versus Carnage, and just so many great moments with the character especially when he's a villain. Even like in Webs of Shadow, where he just like straight up like takes over New York or whatnot, and you get like choices of like whether you want to like save the whole world or just have it be down to Dalmatian. You just end up like controlling everybody, which honestly I kind of picked the evil route because I gotta keep it real. I did not like the characters in there. Besides Wolverine and Luke Cage and all them, like they're pretty cool. And Black Cat. I did not like Mary Jane in the game whatsoever. I just found her so insufferable, and I was like, you know what? Screw you. I'm gonna go with the Black Cat. But that I digress with that. But yeah, that version of Venom was cool. But although my personal favorite would be the animated show, like from a long time ago, Spectacular Spider-Man version, and I will also say Tom Hardy Spider, or sorry, Tom Hardy's Venom is pretty cool. And number one, I don't think it's any much of a surprise, but you know what? The Green Goblin. And the reason why the Green Goblin is my most favorite Spider-Man villain is because he has the most impact in the story. And hey, I kind of like his design. He looks cool. He looks menacing. Heck, my personal favorite is the Sam Raimi from the first Spider-Man, movie, where he was a lot more menacing and he had like this like armored tech, and it was like his eyes was just like evil, and just William Dafoe's performance as the Green Goblin was fucking fire, dude. It was awesome because genuinely I felt terrified of this character. Like there was like so much unpredictability of Green Goblin, and that's what I love about these villains. Is like, and that's like I don't know, something like about like the Green Goblin, which also ended up inspiring me to like make this like really cool character called Anzu, the Devil King, who is pretty much the Green Goblin of my story, but otherwise it's just the way that that movie, especially with Willem Dafoe's performance as Norman Osborn and or the Green Goblin was so iconic. It was so great, and it was just like, just something about the Green Goblin in that movie was awesome. Like there was like so many other great iterations too, but just something about the movie just hits at me in the heart, man. But yeah, that's pretty much my favorite Spider-Man villains. Hold on, I need to get a drink real quick. And we're back. And let's go ahead and talk about the best girl and Spider-Man romance. Um, I think what I'm gonna do here is briefly talk about a few characters that I think is like the best girls. So briefly, I'll mention Silk, Carol Danvers, the other girl from that he was kind of with. I forgot her name. She had like um, brown hair or whatnot. I forgot. She's definitely best girl. Um, I would say Black Cat is also best girl at times. It depends on the situation. I would say Gwen Stacy, especially the Tasm series version. I love. She's so awesome, especially Emma Watson. Oh my god, I used to have a big crush on her back in the day, especially when she played as Gwen Stacy. I was like, damn, I kind of want Gwen Stacy. Until then, I realized she died in a horrible way by having her neck snapped. So sucks. But otherwise, besides that, she is a compelling character, and she is the best girl for Spider-Man. And apparently, that was actually supposed to be his endgame partner that Stanley wanted to have, but they ended up killing off Gwen Stacy, which I believe that definitely pissed him off because it was like, what the hell? This is not what we signed up for, but it is what it is. I'd be pissed too. Let's say the editorials try to like kill off like you know a a character that I specifically added as like end game, but then for some stupid reasons they want to be like, oh, let's just kill the lady so that we can like gain more attraction. And it's like, fuck off, just fuck off, just don't do that shit ever again. But it is what it is. I mean, speaking of which, I believe like Stanley's probably rolling his grave about what they're currently doing to his work, especially in the comic books. So I would say he is definitely not happy with what's going on. I mean, I don't know, but otherwise, I wouldn't be surprised because again, I'm also a writer, and I would not like it if they try to like pretty much bastardize the characters I created, and then just like fuck them up in the horrific way possible, and I'd be like, I should hunt you in your sleep for that, but it is what it is. I would say me personally, I would say the best girls in my opinion goes down to all three. I would say Gwen Stacy, I would put at 3. I would say Black Cat, I would kind of put at 2 for a bit because like there is one where it's like, of course it's Mary Jane, but it's specifically like the one I really like the most. And my favorite version of Mary Jane is the one of the Insomniac series where she is not only like gorgeous and cute, but like she's like a compelling character. Because at first I was gonna say the Sam Raimi, but apparently she kind of was a hoe in that movie, and it was weird. So I'm like, no. But the Insomniac version of Mary Jane, on the other hand, godly, was she awesome. Especially like the dynamic that she had with Spider-Man and Peter Parker or whatnot. It was just so cute, and it just, I love the ending too where they just finally like kiss or whatnot. It was like, final fucking lead, like it was nice. And I wish I could have a girlfriend like, well, maybe I do, but I kind of want that love. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want that kind of love where it's like, we really love each other, even if we're like going through a lot. We can still, work things out. But yeah, anyways, that's all I gotta say. Briefly, I'll say what I think about the Spider-Man manga. I say I haven't read it yet, but I'm thinking about like probably getting a copy or two of that. And from what I've like seen from like of course some other YouTubers and whatnot, I would say yeah, Spider-Man manga is pretty good. The art style is quite spectacular, no pun intended. Um, the main dude isn't like Peter Parker because Peter Parker ends up being somebody else like Venom or not. But like it's just like so cool to see like this dude that doesn't have the powers of Peter Parker, but still becomes Spider-Man just by helping out other people, and that's just like so awesome because even if you don't have the powers of Spider-Man, you can still make a difference by at least helping out whenever possible. And even when he was like fighting his villains or whatnot, like yeah, he would just like struggle, but he still like fights back or whatnot. It's just like cool to see, and I don't remember his name, but like the dude is just he was cool. But otherwise, from what I've seen, yeah, I'm thinking about like give me like a copy or two of that and just reading it for myself and giving a review one day. So I'll say just from outside of it, it looks good. I can't wait to read it and maybe review it to you guys one day. I mean, it's basically anime, but or sorry, it's basically manga, but it's Spider Man. So hey, that's pretty cool. Anyways, let's go to the outro and let's just say what makes Spider Man the most interesting hero of all time, and also to add on what makes Spider Man my most favorite hero of all time as well. I would say what makes Spider Man interesting is again like what was alluded to with the importance of Spider Man in media. He's an everyday man. He has like responsibilities and a burden, and he has a duty and obligation to save the world as best as power with the power that he has. And it's just like something about just the way that he saves people from a lot of things. Like it's just great to see that, and just like the way that he inspires people just by letting us know like, hey, I'm going through a lot, but I gotta still keep on going. Hell, he even has like inner thoughts like, man, I really wish, I could, be doing this and that. But besides all that, all this angst and anxiety and all that other stuff, he still keeps on going. He keeps on persevering, even if let's say his life is in shambles. He still keeps on going because he knows that with great power comes great responsibility, and that's something that is always going to be echoed within our lives because we do have responsibility in our lives even as adults because we go through a lot. We gotta like pay bills, we gotta like provide for the family, provide for the community, just essentially just do a lot of that. And you know it can get stressful at times, but at the same time there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel where you'll make it there whenever possible. Hell, Spider-Man was able to make it there, and he's the most recognizable hero of all time, and has inspired millions of people despite again being a fictional character. But besides all that, he's like such a compelling character for you know everyone, from kids to young adults to elders. Like he appeals to everybody, and like growing up again for me was the Sam Raimi versions that like really like had an impact in my life, like a direct impact. To this day, I remember just loving the movies just like because it had such a special place in my heart. How I even have the tattoos to prove how much that movie has impacted me for so long. Like this is the exact like logo of the the Sam Raimi um Spider-Man logo that Tobey Maguire is wearing, and that version of Spider-Man will always still have my heart because that's the one I grew up with, and that's the one that has inspired me the most to be the person that I am. So without Sam Raimi again, without the man himself, without Toby, without all them, without those wonderful actors, without those wonderful people that did all that, and of course without Stanley himself doing what he's doing, honestly, I don't know if I would be here right now on a podcast talking about, Weeb Talk and all this other stuff, to be honest. But otherwise, thanks to those people, just for inspiring me, especially with a character like Spider-Man. It just like gave me this outlet to it's okay to continue to you know do amazing things. It's okay to be weird. It's okay to be a nerd. It's okay to be whatever because hell, Peter Parker's a nerd and he's able to do some extraordinary things. Albeit it's different, but like even still, he's able to like achieve some like a lot of great things, and just again, I could go on and on about how much I really like Spider-Man, Peter Parker story or whatnot, but all I gotta say is just the way that that character has pretty much impacted me for a very long time is just like it's an understatement because you know he really is the greatest hero of all time. Like, yeah, we could say, Batman, Superman, Captain America, Iron Man, or any other hero whatsoever. Heck, you can even say Invincible, Goku, whatever. But just something about, like, Spider Man is just always so compelling. I kind of like hiking into, like, Naruto, for example, or Gohan, because like these are like characters that go through a lot of struggles, and yet they're still able to like do something like with their lives or whatnot, or Nightwing or whatever. Like just something about just seeing them having to like struggle, but like still make it to the other side is always great. So yeah, that's all I gotta say, really about like why I like Spider Man and why he's my favorite hero and why he's the most interesting hero of all time, and that you know kids should have like a role model that represents kindness, responsibility, compassion, and caringness, and just something that is beneficial to the world. Because I don't know, I want to get to I wouldn't say political, but just to whatever. But like this whole like Andrew Tate thing is just ridiculous in my opinion. Just it's like, oh, you're not a real man if you have a god, or you're not out here slutting around with thousands of women and apparently doing cam girls. It it gets weird. So like I won't go too much into that, but it's like it seems like a very very terrible role models, and like there's like way more better ones. Like yeah, if you guys don't want to do Spider-Man, that's fine. You can just choose like I don't know Keanu Reeves or anyone else like that. But like what I'm saying is like have somebody that is like a pillar in your life that matters to you. You know what I'm saying? Especially us men. We got to pick better role models. But otherwise, all I gotta say again is Spider-Man will always be the greatest hero of all time. He has always inspired me to be, the person I am today. And again, without Spider-Man, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So thank you, Stanley. I know you're unfortunately gone for a very long time, but even still, thank you so much for everything you have done for so long with Spider-Man and the whole Marvel series. And I want to thank Sam Raimi for really making an amazing movie. Maybe except three because I don't know about three, but just making such a great movie. Tobey Maguire, thank you so much for also being the Spider-Man in my life that I really needed the most, and just yeah, thank you Spider-Man for everything. Like for us, like seriously, I don't know what else I can say other than thank you for pretty much, you know, being you, and hopefully they can do something with your comic book so that they don't keep fucking with you like that. But otherwise, hey, you're you're good. You're still awesome. Keep it up, champ. And same for anyone else that's a Spidey head. You know, don't let people tell you otherwise. Like, oh, Spider-Man's corny or whatever. No, if you are a big fan of Spider-Man and you want to show that, show it. Do not be afraid to be a nerd. Do not afraid to be who you want to be, because if Spider-Man is your favorite hero, let it be known. And who cares if someone's gonna make fun of you that you like Spider-Man? So what? That is a character that you love and care about. Show it. Show it through your art. Show it through just the way that you're expressing yourself. Just because of who this, you know, person is. Just for everything, that Spider-Man has done for you, for me, for everyone else. Like, just do what you got to do. Because That's something that, again, Spider-Man would what 100% would wanted is for a lot of us to be ourselves, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, just like what the legend has said, Stanley has said, anyone can wear the mask. But anyways, that's all I gotta say. How are we doing time? I think we're doing okay. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this Weeb Talk episode. This one's episode 25. This took quite some bit of time, but hey, I had a bit of fun. Just talking a lot about Spider-Man, and I'm probably gonna do a little bit more Spider-Man content pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this Weeb Talk podcast. Let me know in the comments down below of like what's your favorite show, what's your favorite genre, what's your favorite whatever about Spider-Man. In the comments down below. And let's just, keep it cracking, Like I said, whip the like button and make sure you pull it in to POW the subscription. And also hit the ring bell or subscribe for more stuff, POW to subscribe to more Weeb Talk and all that good stuff. Anyways, this is your boy Shazman21 sign out. And I'll see you guys in another episode of Weeb Talk. Now say peaceful, say amazing, say awesome, say amazing, say spectacular, and most importantly, stay being you classy you sexy you, and whatever you want to be. Guy, girl, non-binary, a fucking dragon, thing, cat, mice, dog, I don't know. Whatever. Whatever you want to be. Or whoever you want to do, or whatever you want to be. Or whatever who you are. I guess. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, to all you guys, love you guys. Stay peaceful, stay awesome. And I'll see you guys later. Peace. Boom.